call the Monday, December 29th meeting to order at 3:16. Approval of resolution 2025-1229A, the appropriation transfers. Do we have that in front of us?
Yeah, it's this paper that, yeah. That's just moving from line to line.
Okay. Need a
I
motion?
move to approve the resolution 2025-1229A.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And then we have the resolution authorizing lease of the backhoe.
Yes, and so, it is saying that we are going to enter into the lease and the signature, the attorney has reviewed it, the attorney has, submitted with it his attorney letter that is required, and it is, let me find it. The town council president or the clerk treasurer of the leasing is hereby authorized and directed to execute the agreement for the lease of the backhoe with Crossroads Bank for $113,000 for 8 years.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2025-1229B, the authorization lease of the backhoe.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Milestone change order 1 to the Dirk Studebaker Trail. Is that yours?
Sure. I think this was presented back in mid or early November. And this is the work that basically added the concrete surfaces at the Briar Park area for the trailhead. So it's an additional $85,215, and I think it was tabled, but it's done.
It's done now.
If there's any questions, but there's a sketch there in page 4 that shows the concrete areas that were installed, stone underneath them, and right to the parking area. And that sets the stage for future landscaping and work for the shade sail structure.
I'll make a motion to approve change order 1 to the Dirk Studebaker Trail.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Change order 2.
So change order 2 then takes all the measurements for the final quantities and adjusts them for the planned quantities that were in the bid form in the first original agreement. So most of these are deductions for either items that weren't used in total or just amounts of quantities of items that underran. There were a few small overruns, but in all, the total net deduction is $75,306.01. And the next will be the final contract amount, $1,065,758.99.
Like that. Need a motion to accept change order 2.
I move for change order 2.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Milestone pay estimate 3.
So this is for the period, basically the month of October. And again, I think this was presented earlier too on the table, maybe, I'm not sure.
No, this one was just lost
Okay.
in Treva's inbox.
Okay. So this would be for the progress payment for that time period from the 1st of October to November 7th, technically. It's in the amount of $488,713.10. That does include some additional retainage that's being withheld, just over $4,000. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them or go in more detail on what this is including.
I'll make a motion for pay estimate 3.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Pay estimate 4.
The estimate 4 is it's for the period from 11/8 to 12/10. It's the remainder of the work. That was incomplete, which is essentially all the work that was added by change order 1 to the Briar Park area. So it's at $85,215. That's the amount that is. And there's no additional retainage withheld here because the cap on retainage was hit with the last pay application. So,
Make a motion to accept the estimate 4.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
And just before we go on, just so you know, retainage is withheld until final.
Final,
Yeah.
final
Yeah,
approval.
and it's usually 5% of the total contract, and we take 10% out of the first pay apps until we reach that 5% cap, and that's in the agreement. That's pretty much an industry standard.
So we should only see one more retainage release at some point.
Right, unless we do a partial retained release because there's some extenuating circumstances, some small particular item needs to wait to get done. We'll do a punch list walkthrough that'll generate a list of items that need corrected or finished. If they're not finished, which they're all finished, it's just to be corrected items. And then once that is done, we'll come to you with approval of that, and then a final release of the retainage for the 5% of the total contract.
Sounds like fun. All right, your supplemental agreement to the Dirt Studebaker Trail.
So, we had gone over on our budget for inspection services. We knew it was gonna be a kind of thin budget to begin with. We were trying to keep the costs down so that the grant and everything would get funded and approved. I think our total was $46,700 for inspection, which is not a lot given the scope and scale of the project, but we are requesting a supplement for additional closeout inspection time from basically, I'd just say the month of December, and then the closeout stuff in the spring for an additional $10,000.
We do.
I'll make a motion to approve the supplemental agreement for BFNS.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Thank you for that. And I should mention too, it is part-time. We're out here only as needed and try to limit that, so if they're not working, we're not here. That's all on that.
So then you have your BFNS, I assume that's task order for access management.
Yeah. So a new requirement from the state after last year's legislative session, was some legislation to require utilities, water and wastewater utilities to have an asset management plan. And this is a fairly involved plan. I didn't bring a sample, but it's going to be fairly thick and have some required components in it that the state wants to track and make sure that you're basically planning for the future maintenance and replacement needs of your utilities. Trina's talked about it in the past at council meetings a little bit. There's a new requirement, and some of the completion dates aren't necessarily that certain, but certainly by July 1st this coming year, start of the next state fiscal year, they want these in place. And then it's a quadrennial, it's every 4 years. That'll need to be updated. But to do a plan for your water utility and your wastewater utility, we're proposing a fee of $12,000 each for $24,000 so that you can be compliant with that requirement and comply with the state and the IURC. We would have this completed by April 1st, anticipating that July 1st to have any comments cleaned up and submitted back to be done.
What all does that entail?
Too much.
Well, basically.
Just in general, like,
Yeah.
they want us to pull things that we have no idea.
What your facilities are, what their approximate age is, what their approximate cost of replacement will be,
What's underground?
what's underground, what's at your plants, what its useful life remaining is, when it was installed.
Kind of like the roads, they want us to know when we first put roads in, back in the back, you know.
Straight from the legislation, there were some of the general administrative rules that are coming out for this. Basic information about the utility, initial information regarding asset management, that's kind of the physical characteristic stuff. Information on managerial capabilities, financial capabilities, and legal capabilities. I'm not sure without looking through that example, what we've done for other communities. But Chris Lemiak has done these he's doing these for current communities right now, and the communities he's done some already for, Battleground and Dayton, so. Or is it Delphi? No, we've done Mac and Delphi's, just a water utility.
And we have to have it. If we don't have it, we get a ding. If we don't have it by the next year, then we're not in good shape.
This is the one I was talking about, that we have to report to the IURC. Now we have a report and we have to have this as saying that we have it. And if we don't, then by the next time the report is due to the IURC, if we don't have it the second time, then they make us automatically go back under the jurisdiction of the IURC.
We don't want that.
So,
Well, I'll make a motion for task order for the asset management.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I did have one more thing that just came in. I got an email back from Duke. I don't know if we can do this under other or not.
no, you go ahead.
Okay, so Duke provided 2 different proposals or agreements that the town can consider, and I can link copies of you and forward you the email for that matter too. For lighting along the trail going out East Oxford Street. I believe one was for 12 lights, one was for 15. After their engineering department looked at it, their initial estimate of being able to do, I think it was, excuse me, like 8 or 9 and 15. There's some lights that maybe more than 15, I forget my notes said. But some of the poles do have to be skipped because of clearance requirements and what's already on the poles and where the light would get mounted. So it shouldn't be too hard. These maps that I printed out, you can kind of see shadows from poles that don't have a number on them. So there's a couple gaps. I haven't had a lot of time to review it. So I'm just going to give it for your guys' information today. But there's a pole near the church that's getting skipped, and then there's a couple poles across from the apartments, Ottoman Commons, that are getting skipped. But other than that, the 15 pole option is as many as I think you can fit, or that they can fit out there without having to move things off the poles or rearrange things on the poles. And then the other one is a little bit maybe more even spacing with 12, so that it's more, a little bit more uniform of a length of, or uniform spacing, I should say.
This one's on 2 sheets.
I think we're good.
And this one goes with the second. Good. Pull it in a little bit for it. The 12 light option was like $87, $88 a month, and the 15 $119 per month. So when you're ready to have it.
And that's no upfront cost, it's just what it is.
Right, that includes installation, maintenance. I haven't read the agreement, but I'm assuming there's probably a term in there that is good, a period of time, and after that, you'll have to consider the agreement. And if the light goes out, they replace it. Includes the installation costs and then all the electricity.
Perfect.
Just table this to the January meeting.
Well, since he would like to
To
do
review
it,
it?
yeah,
You might have, I might send it to Jeff too.
yeah.
Very recently.
Okay. Big paper. What is the original claims? She just printed me out.
Oh, because you didn't have your iPhone.
In my coming back from vacation thing, and I forgot to turn my iPad. So Dee was kind enough to print it off for me.
so we're doing step one first.
Yes, I assume that's the good step one. Okay, general, 162,444.48, MVH, 240, riverboat fund, how many zeros? 10,000, rainy day, 35,000, community center fund, 200, automobile utilities, 90, CCD, 105, 658.95, CDIT, 50,000, ARP, coronavirus local fiscal recovery grant fund, 20,998.77, next level trail grant, 352, 282.62, water operating, 18,079.36, water bond and interest, 19,465.97, customer utility deposit fund, 299.96, customer utility deposit fund, yeah, 7,257.85. Is the amount off the line, that was wastewater treatment operating. Stormwater utility operating, 63,326.20, payroll, 49,817.94 for a grand total of 800,062.10.
I move to approve the claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We have an additional set.
And this just includes payroll that I talked about in the email, and it also included the additional BF&S invoice that I found missing earlier today, and Tom Clark's December bill.
Okay, so can I just read the total or did
Yep.
you read? So the total is 55,407.88. I'll make a motion to approve set 2.
My second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Approval of encumbrances. That looks to be the resolution here, correct?
Yes, and all this is doing is these are the purchase orders that we have set up in the system for purchases or contracts that we have or just approved that won't be paid until sometime next year. So this is encumbering this year's budget for these items into the 2026 budget, so we don't have to use next year's budget. For a total of $139,974.53.
I'll approve the encumbrance as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Do we have any other? All right, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn at 3:34.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed?